Hi and welcome to my second video in the series about nutrition and health, and today we're going to be looking at micronutrients. So micronutrients are nutrients that are required in very, very small amounts or quantities, and the two main sections of those that you can get are vitamins and minerals. Okay, so the first micronutrients we'll look at are vitamins, and so they're organic substances, and so they contain carbon atoms. They're needed for a number of things within the body, and it lists down here specific metabolic functions, and basically that's reactions happening in your cells, and so vitamins are an essential part of that. Now with the syllabus you're studying, you're expected to know several different types of vitamins and minerals. Personally, there are a number listed in this PowerPoint and in this video, but I wouldn't learn all of them. I would pick 3 or 4 of the main ones, so in this case potentially vitamin A, D, E, C, and some of the vitamin Bs. I would look to go through maybe 2 or 3 of those and know them, and then what foods they're found in. So vitamin C is probably the best example of a vitamin that everybody knows. It's on the side of advertising on specifically fruit juice drinks, and it's used as an antioxidant, reduces inflammation periods, has a number of roles in formation of blood cells, and it's found in things like orange juice. It's found in a number of different types of fruits and vegetables. So what I would do in this section is I would pause it and look at this specific table and then decide on which ones you're going to learn. Obviously for this qualification you don't need to know all of them. I would personally stick to the 3 or 4 main vitamins in this case, so A, D, E, and potentially some of the B vitamins. So minerals are different to vitamins in respect that they don't usually contain hydrogen, oxygen and nitrogen. They're a collection of different other types of elements that you require for normal metabolic functions. So with minerals you're expected to know again roughly 3 or 4 examples and where they're found, and probably the 3 or 4 best examples would be these. Calcium, you're probably aware that it's found in things like milk and cheese, and it's related to bone structures. Magnesium is required for the formation of nerves. It's also used in bones and teeth. You also have probably the most famous example of a mineral would be iron, and iron's related to red blood cell formation and function, and so it's an important constituent of hemoglobin. So another nutrient that's required, or another component of diet that's required, is water, and water is a big constituent of the majority of your systems. It makes up 45 to 70% of your weight. The variation in that is caused by the difference of water contained in muscle and fat. Whereas muscle contains 75% water, fat tissue has 20%, and hence this variation that you'll get from 45 to 70%. So your daily intake of water should be roughly 2 litres per day. That's at a sedentary level, so that's doing no exercise. Whereas if you're exercising profusely, then you'll need to take on huge amounts of water. In some cases, for some athletes, up to 15 litres per day. So maintaining water levels is exceptionally important, particularly for athletes, as it can impair performance. Dehydration means that you can't regulate your temperature as well, and hence why it's so important for athletes to regularly top up their water levels. Signs of dehydration are things like having a very, very strong yellow urine, obviously urinating less. It can also lead to an increased heart rate, and it can prolong muscle soreness. So electrolytes are lost, particularly when sweating, and therefore those need to be produced. The types of things we're talking about when we refer to electrolytes are sodium, chloride ions and potassium ions. Essentially these are used for muscular contraction, and what can happen if you become dehydrated and lose a lot of electrolytes is that can impair muscle performance and can result in things like cramp and lowered muscle contraction. So in summary, micronutrients include vitamins and minerals, and vitamins, you're expected to know on this course at least 3 examples of vitamins. So I personally would know A, C and D. Minerals, again, you'd be expected to know another 3 examples, so iron, magnesium and calcium would probably be the 3 that I would pick. You need to understand that they're related to metabolic function, so the contraction of muscles, the general level of activity within cells. Water and electrolytes can be lost when you sweat, and so they therefore need to be replaced. Dehydration and things like cramps are caused essentially by lack of fluids and loss of electrolytes, so obviously they need to be replaced.